Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of SEF Indisc Podcast, a podcast that can be your late night soulmate. How's your day, guys? Hope you are doing well today. My name is Wulan, and in this episode, I'm not alone because I'm with my dearest partner, Bina. Hi, Bina.
Oh, hi, Wulan, and hello, everyone. So, in this episode, we will bring you to a more interesting discussion, and not just that. We will be accompanied by our amazing guest star, and she is our beloved SEF Consultative Board, and also an ISMA awardee at Unsoed last year. She is none other than Terra de Alibaza.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, Terra. Hi, Terra!
Hi, everyone!
Okay, so regarding our main topic, which is Thanksgiving, maybe some of us know the tradition of Thanksgiving from movies that we've seen before. But however, since we have Katera here and with the experience that she had before at Unsoed office in the US, I would like to know, or even our listeners also really want to know about your point of view or thoughts on Thanksgiving. So what is Thanksgiving tradition that you can explain and describe to us, Kak?
Well, there are a lot of traditions in Thanksgiving. One obvious tradition is having dinner together and, like the name suggests, mentioning things that you are grateful for in the past year. And then those who are religious could also say grace or pray before eating. And since we're speaking of the dinner aspect itself, you usually do have a whole turkey with mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, and often a pie of sorts for dessert. The most common pie I've seen served are pumpkin and apple pies, but other kinds can be served as well.
Wow, that sounds delicious. I really want to try the apple pie. And as we know that Thanksgiving is celebrated on the last Thursday of November, is there any reason why Thanksgiving is celebrated on that day? And has it ever changed or not, Kak? And then, when we heard about Thanksgiving, the first thing that comes to our mind is turkey. Why does it have to be turkey?
Well, the early celebrations of Thanksgiving involved really lavish feasts after a great harvest, so it's usually held near the end of fall. The meals were sourced from animals and crops native to America, so the wild turkeys were very commonly hunted for such Thanksgiving dinners.
It seems that Thanksgiving is so important to the Americans that it became a national holiday. And that might sound strange in our country because maybe here the National Day holidays are only religious holidays and others. So what do you think, Kak? Why did Thanksgiving become a national holiday in America?
Well, speaking of religious holidays, actually, giving thanks to God for a bountiful harvest had always been common, such as in England and even in North America as early as the late 1500s. But official dates for the first ever American Thanksgiving have been debated upon. That said, George Washington had once issued that there should be a day just for Thanksgiving on November 26, 1789. And then in 1863, Abraham Lincoln sort of solidified that proclamation, saying that the last Thursday of November should be a day for giving thanks.
Wow, it will be nice if we have Thanksgiving holiday here in Indonesia. And from the beginning, we always mention that Thanksgiving is celebrated in the United States. But are there any countries outside the United States that celebrate Thanksgiving?
Actually, there are. In fact, even in the early days, the 16th and 17th century, Thanksgiving was also a tradition in Canada. And then Australia also celebrates Thanksgiving. Historically, the holiday itself was introduced by Americans who sailed to Australia. Many other countries, which were formerly under American colonization, also celebrate Thanksgiving too.
So it's starting from Canada. So SEF Indisc listener must be very curious about how people in the US celebrating Thanksgiving. And can you tell us how they usually celebrate it, Kak? And usually, who must be attending Thanksgiving celebration there?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, they celebrated over dinner, and by they, I mean family and close friends who might not be able to join their own family for the holiday. During my time in Davis, the town became very, very quiet because most of the students flew back to their homes to celebrate Thanksgiving. Except for me, because flying back home would have complicated my visa and scholarship.
Yeah, that's a long journey between Indonesia and the United States. Then we all know that the last year you were an ISMA awardee at UC Davis, so you studied in the US during that semester, right? So at that time, did you celebrate Thanksgiving there? Maybe with your friends, Kak?
I did. In fact, I celebrated for a total of 4 times. So the first one was a week early with students under the Global Study Program, and it was a potluck system. Basically, everyone attending would contribute to the dinner, like bringing the entree or dessert or drinks. And then, on the actual day of Thanksgiving, I celebrated it with my host family's extended family from my host dad's side. That was a more traditional Thanksgiving, although my host mom brought gyoza and I brought perkedel. That same night, my fellow ISMA awardees at UC Davis celebrated together at a friend's place with food that we cooked ourselves. And the last one was a dinner held by a very good friend of mine for international students who were stuck in Davis or didn't have family in the country. So all in all, a very pleasant and memorable Thanksgiving.
Wow, that sounds amazing experience that you got, and also you did cook perkedel there. Alright, but do people there ever tell you the history of how the tradition of celebrating Thanksgiving began? Or maybe have you ever heard about the history of Thanksgiving, Kak?
I don't think anyone had brought up the wars which were involved in the early days of American Thanksgiving. It was sort of an elephant in the room, a touchy subject. I only ever heard a little bit about how problematic it was in American history, and it was only recently that I read up more about what Native Americans had to suffer. I think it's important to acknowledge that this holiday has several roots in colonization, and we should always be mindful of Indigenous American experiences and voices regarding this holiday, which is very much a day of mourning for them.
Ah, okay. That was a really cool, Kak. What an amazing story and experience you had there. It was our pleasure to hear the story of you. Thank you so much for Terra for all of your story and also the exciting information that you tell about Thanksgiving. It was really nice having you here.
And thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Unfortunately, our discussion has to end up here. So stay tuned to our social media to keep you updated about our podcast. I am Bina and my partner tonight,
Wulan saying goodbye. See you. SEF Indisc Podcast, a podcast that can be your Sat Night soulmate.